Gonna stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, and yawn and stretch and try to come to life.
You said you're a bit of a night owl, and in the previous couple of Generations games, we've been talking to Rosie, and we were talking quite a bit about going out and sort of, what you do when you go out of an evening. I mean, for me now, a sort of really good night out would normally be a meal. I think going to a really good restaurant, having a really good meal with some friends and some really good wine, and then maybe a digestif for something afterwards, and then either going sitting somewhere talking bollocks or just tootling back. For Rosie, that wasn't, she was obviously very much going out, we were centering a lot on the whole preparation thing and the cost of going out and preloading. So is that your experience? If you're going for a night out, is it a case of, do you have to spend a fortune and several hours getting yourself ready, and then is it essential to actually, in essence, get pissed before you actually leave the house?
So I differ from Rosie in the sense that I don't get my lashes done or anything like that.
Excellent, good start.
Saves money.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
And I don't get my nails done, anything, as you can tell, because they're all chipped and broken.
Good.
Which is actually really bad.
So you're not worried about that then? So you're not quite image conscious?
No, but I do like Rosie getting my hair dyed. And now I can't quite remember how much her hair costs, but I think it was around the region of like £80.
Right. Depends, I know she'd had it coloured again and whatever.
So my hair, so I get my hair highlighted, and that costs about £88, which is quite a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot. Can you not do it yourself?
If I want my hair to fall out.
You get like one of those little caps and pull the hair out.
No, you don't do that anymore. But I asked my hairdresser. I've only just started going to this hair salon since I've been back from uni. And I asked her and I said, can your hair fall out? Because with bleach, and she goes, yeah, it can. And it happened to one of her friends when she was younger, and I was like, and it genuinely shocked me because I was like, there's no way. But it turns out it is. Anyway, going back to the night out. So yeah, it is similar. But yes, if you have drinks before you go out, I'm sure you must have done this. You're fairly young still.
Well,
you have drinks before you go out. Yeah.
You're just being polite, aren't you?
But you do have drinks before you go out because it's so much cheaper, especially because I, for anybody who doesn't know, I graduated last year and I came back to the island. So it is so much cheaper to go out to buy drinks from like a supermarket, like alcohol from a supermarket or Tesco, Lidl, Aldi, whatever.
ShopRite, of course.
ShopRite, yeah. If you're over here, any supermarket.
But then it begs the question, of course, is it possible to have a good night out without actually drinking?
Yeah,
no,
I've done it.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know what? There's absolutely nothing going on in any of the pubs or any of the clubs that is worth knowing about. It's the same every single week. Yeah,
and that is a problem over here, is that it is so repetitive. Like you can't. There is often not. I don't think there's many new places opened recently. I think there's a couple, but not many open. And I think not many open because it's kind of hard to stay open. And I think location matters so much because there's definite certain crawls and runs and stuff, and if you're not open on one of those crawls or run places, then it's really hard to get customers.
So how often do you go out then?
Not very often.
Yeah, do you like to stay in and sort of be comfortable and
I would
slippers and dressing gown?
Literally, no. I gave up on going out when I was at uni. I was like, no, because even though I'm 22. So many people in the bars and clubs now are 18, and even now I feel old going in.
You feel old?
Yeah. No, genuinely. I feel a bit old here. But no, it's true.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes you feel really old. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy. But I just stopped going out. And also, it's so expensive. You don't realise it, but I don't know if you've ever had this, but you go on a night out and then you wake up in the morning, and obviously it's not the first thing you do, but later on in the day, you wake
up at home, of course.
Yeah, obviously at home in my own bed, potentially with last night's makeup still on because I didn't take it off, but I'll check my bank account later on during the day, and then it's just all adds up, and it's so expensive. Drinks are so expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and
they are.
You don't realise it when you're out, obviously, but when you get back the next day, you're like,
I think everyone pre-drinks now.
Yeah, it's really common because it's a lot cheaper, and it saves you money.
It's also ruining the pub trades over here because you go to Tesco on a Saturday evening if you're doing a bit of shopping. All the kids are there picking up their drink, and preloading and. Especially when if I've DJ'd somewhere, the clubs aren't getting busy now until 12, half 12, so anything prior to that is just a write-off. Obviously some pubs are busy, but You know, that vibe is gone. It's certainly not what it used to be when I went out.
Taking and no giving, they just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5 for service and devotion. You would think that I would deserve a fair promotion. Want to move ahead.
And I know, of course, when you would have gone out, you know, there was a massive buzz. You had the Lido.
I mean, all those places,
some of the big places, yeah.
Oh, there were a lot of big places going on, and sort of the Nikkei Down. I think there was the original Paramount down there, and there was the Cave. I mean, I guess I was not even, when I was Emma's age or thereabouts. I have to confess, I had as much interest in going clubbing or discoing then as I do now, which is to say none whatsoever. And I've never enjoyed pop music. I've never enjoyed dancing. I never enjoyed discotheques. I've never been to a nightclub other than a jazz club, which I've actually enjoyed.
Do you dance to jazz?
None of them.
Because I do like listening to it.
How do you dance to
The
jazz?
younger generation now, interestingly enough, now if you look at a lot of younger jazz fans, they like going. They don't, I like going to Ronnie Scott's and places like that, which are still going strong, and jazz clubs where you sit down. Again, you'll have something to eat, probably you'll have a few beers, and you'll watch the jazz. A lot of younger jazz guys and girls coming in now who are into the music, they like to go to a sort of much more of a more perhaps of a sort of nightclub type of place, or even a sort of warehouse type, somewhere where you're all going to be standing, and a bit more sort of mosh pitty type area where you're all packed onto the floor, and they play a lot of stuff.
Do you know what? I'm not a big fan, but I would absolutely go there.
Yeah.
And
the jazz again, it's not
amazing.
they're not playing sort of you stand and forget your sort
Is
of.
it like a super posh?
It's much
mosh
more
pit
dance.
where they're
is.
all bumping into each other.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Oops,
Dance.
sorry.
Did I ruin your three-piece suit? I'm really, really sorry.
But you see, all these guys are much more. Yeah, I think they probably will go to and will be into all sorts of other musical genres, whether it's drum and bass or whatever. They'll be into all sorts of other types of dance music as well, and as well as something which is sort of jazz based. The weird thing is, I think, again, when I did go out, so for me, a lot of the time I was going out, we'd just go to the pub, and that maybe because I didn't do the clubs and stuff. So for a long time, when I was in my 20s and 30s, basically, you'd go out for a few beers, and usually Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, possibly Saturdays, and someone would be Des, as it became known later on, designated driver. So you'd take it in turns, that one friend would go and pick up another couple of friends, and then you go to a couple of pubs, and obviously those who weren't driving could have a couple of beers, and the driver would usually stick to the Diet Coke or whatever the case may be. Or you might have a drink possibly, depending on whatever. But then after that, you'd be on Diet Coke for the rest of the evening. But you take it in turns, so not everyone was driving all the time. But it would just be literally you'd go to maybe 1, 2, 3 pubs, and then go back again. Or you'd go out for, again, which you don't seem to get now, a very frequent thing was going out for lasties. Sort of
Lasties? Oh, like last orders.
Last orders. So
right.
Sort of 10 o'clock, 10:30. Whatever
That was last orders.
Well, you've got to remember that there was winter hours on the Isle of Man. And so
why,
for years,
winter hours? What's that?
Well, for years
the
up until
island shuts down in winter.
yeah,
Does it
I mean,
really?
that's what they do.
Like what?
That's what they did.
Your last orders. Sorry, hold on a
We've
second.
been out, Jen.
Your last orders were 10:30.
No, last orders in
People
winter were 9:30.
But people don't even arrive.
Is that what? Because it's cold. Get home, put the
It's 'cause
fire
that
on.
was I think it was probably to do with maybe cutting down on drinking and the licensing laws. But in the winter,
Was
there
that
were-
the Isle of Man's version of the US prohibition?
it was the Isle of Man's version, I think, of trying to cut down. I don't know this because it was trying to cut down on the alcohol sort of alcohol abuse, or whether it's trying to cut down on the overall use of alcohol, or for the antisocial behaviour caused by alcohol. I don't know, or whether it's just coming off the back of the old holiday season. In remembering, of course, the Isle of Man was for years a massive holiday place, and so you had the season, which ran from usually Easter or thereabouts through to the end of September, when everything would be open, the hotels would be open, the horse trams would be running, etc. The electric trams would be running, steam trains, all the usual. So, and then come October, everything pretty much shut down again, and including the pubs. So the pubs would go back to. They would close at 10 o'clock at night.
But that sounds like it's for
Apart
the
from-
locals then, because always the people coming
Well,
over.
it was for the locals because there was no one else here.
So it was okay for people to come over and
Well, during the
get
season, they were open.
absolutely leathered
Yep.
24/7
I think
in the summer.
It's money talks, isn't it?
Yeah,
So, yeah, I think you could find
That's
places.
that's barbaric. That is
That's ridiculous.
You would find
irony,
places
isn't
to
it?
drink.
highest.
Mm.
My word,
there
that's
again,
shocking.
Well,
I'm actually really upset about this.
Yeah, I'm glad that I wasn't around.
Yeah.
I reckon I'd have made a fuss of that.
I actually don't know if people in my generation would cope.
well, you wouldn't.
No.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? Because you'd just do exactly as you say. You'd either buy drinks from. You could still buy drink from obviously supermarkets, whatever, and drink it somewhere else if you wanted to. There would be late night drinking places, as you mentioned, the Palace and the Lido places, which are still there. Now you could go there, and they would be licensed until 1, 2, or whatever in the morning. Some of those
I
places,
see, right,
and
okay.
some of there would still be the nightclubs.
Yeah.
I think,
But it was just the
Right.
pubs mainly.
The pubs,
Right.
Just the pubs would
Right.
be obliged to in the winter close at 10
That's
o'clock.
still bad, though,
I mean,
isn't it?
don't
Not
get me
Friday
wrong,
and
that's still
Saturday.
an
Friday
issue.
and Saturday they'd be open till 11. Monday to Thursday.
Oh, an extra half an hour.
Yeah. And so what happened was the clubs, so again, which is I think killed off, so a lot of the clubs, which a lot of them have gone now, places like the RAF Club and the Legion Club and the Auto Club, which used to be on Hill Street, which were all, clubs where people would join through a common theme normally.
Yeah, yeah.
But you could join a lot of those as a friend member, usually for just a few pounds a year, and they
So people
had
would
Hang on,
join
an
these
hang on,
extra
wait.
hour.
And he was paying a subscription as well.
£5 a year.
You were
yeah.
paying an annual subscription
Well,
to
when I
go to a nightclub.
No, it's not a nightclub. These are
Oh,
clubs.
right.
These are clubs. So I'm trying to think which ones are still going. These were clubs basically where people. There was one like the RAF Club, which is where I used to go to quite a bit, and the
What's the RAF Club?
the
then?
RAF
Is that-
Club used to be. It is.
Is that about planes and stuff? Or
It was exactly that.
Yeah.
It was a club.
And did you infiltrate it,
It was a
pretending
club,
to be
basically.
interested in planes so you
Howard,
could drink
Howard
all
bought a
the-
fancy dress costume.
You're not far
It's
off.
like Catch Me
Imagine-
If You Can,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It was a club for old members of the RAF. And so, if you were ex-RAF, you would just, I think, automatically be a member. If you weren't, you could go along and join, as we did. And where it was situated, the club, so it was on a Prospect Hill, just opposite where government buildings are now. I think it's now an office or something. And basically, it was basically a bar. There were bar seats, downstairs area, and then upstairs there was a billiard room. And basically people went there to drink and socialise. And in that particular case, yes, there would be a snooker league or something going on as well. And that would go on. But they were allowed to stay open an extra hour. And what it did mean in winter, if you're doing things like I always used to do my Amdram, and so if you were rehearsing at 8 until 10, everyone went to the Rafa Club. So if you went before 10 o'clock in the winter, you would normally find a few old RAF boys sitting having a bit of a chat and nursing a half of mild. At 10 past 10, there'd be an influx of 30 or 40 people because they'd be rehearsing with the likes of the service players or the Albany players or the choral union or maybe the operatic. They'd be rehearsing their productions. They'd rehearse 8 until 10 and they'd all go for a beer afterwards. And so suddenly, at 10 past 10, the place would be rammed with people coming in for a couple of beers before it closed.
That is so cool. Sorry, my voice went really weird then.
Just a step on the boss man's ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take away. In the same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day.
But
So
that
I
is
think those
so
sort of things have
Yeah.
changed. But in a way, there's still that weird. I can imagine a lot of people listening to this is again thinking we're a very alcohol-dependent nation, aren't we? And that it's a case of, from what you're saying, and even from my own experience, it's a
However-
case of can you go out without having to consume alcohol? And
You can.
the answer appears to be no.
It seems to be the younger generation. I don't know if you experience this among your people, but the younger generation seem to be turning away from alcohol more now because, I'm on TikTok, which is a
I'm
big
so
thing.
proud of you.
I'm proud of myself, to
I
be
am
honest.
really proud.
Is that a drink?
Uh,
No, TikTok.
A pint of TikTok.
TikTok, please.
But yeah, no, I'm on it probably a little bit more than I should be on it.
Oh, don't
it's
worry,
so
Chris,
addictive.
everybody is.
Oh,
Everybody
it's
is.
crazy.
No, they're not.
Well, yeah, apart from
We'll
Howard, of course,
download
yeah.
it for you, Howard, okay?
No, I've seen it, but it's just full of utter bollocks, isn't it, most of it, to be fair?
Well, it depends on what side of TikTok you're on.
Oh, well,
Depends on
yeah,
what
the
talk.
algorithm will pick
Yeah.
what is interesting to you.
Well,
So if
yeah.
you like gardening and tips and things, people will be actually on there saying, "Oh, look at this wonderful plant. This is how to
Yeah.
make it get bigger,"
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
Couldn't you just do that on YouTube?
Yeah, but
But yeah, it's too long. It's too lengthy. It's
who
you're
has
having
the
to
time,
search and
Howard, to watch
these
it
things
through.
just
Yeah.
are in your
These are like
face.
30-second videos.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to watch a 30-minute video.
Exactly.
Okay?
Well, just watch 2 minutes of it then.
But
Yeah.
you don't get the full content because it's not
Yeah.
tailored for a 30
But you can't get much content
Yeah.
into 30 seconds, can you?
Yeah,
if, you're
you
if you're doing a gardening thing, right,
Okay.
today we're going to tell you how to grow carrots. Right, get your seeds out of the bag, doop, finished.
That's
No.
all you need to know. We're not going to watch it grow, though, are we? Like,
Yeah.
You're not going to do a great deal in 30 seconds,
Well,
realistically, are you?
You would really be surprised.
I've seen some of them, but I must admit it just doesn't do me in that I'm the exact opposite. I just think the likes of TikTok and some of this is breeding a whole generation of people who are unable to concentrate for more than 2 minutes.
And that I think, that's an interesting point. But going back to the alcohol, it seems to be.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to be. It's weird, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
you two guys are hammered and drunk and sending me off track, and I'm trying to come back down to reality just by talking about alcohol. But the younger generations, your people again, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Your
seem-
people. You and your people.
You and your people.
Makes it sound like you're in a special club.
They seem to be turning their backs on alcohol and more aware of the dangers. And a lot of this I've seen through TikTok and sort of read into it online and stuff. But is that something that you've noticed?
Yeah, it is. And don't get me wrong, there are obviously everybody's friendship groups and always going to want to go out for a night out. That's a given, really. But I have found, especially when I was in my third year uni, a lot of people in my year group they just didn't have the time because we were all so stressed, and we kind of moved away from it because we were all like, oh, go do this. And then so you kind of just you don't disassociate because me and my friends did cocktail nights at home, so we didn't go out. Instead we'd make our own, and we make our own entertainment, but
That's
still with
good.
alcohol.
Yeah.
But you do move away from it, and also because you realise it's really not that good for you. It's really draining on your bank account. It's it's, and then you get all sorts of symptoms. People get anxiety, which is where you get anxiety, the hangover the next day.
Oh, I thought you said hangxiety then. I just thought you'd mispronounced it.
No.
Then.
No,
Isn't that just a hangover?
Yeah, but it's the anxiety and the stress of oh my god, what did I do the night before? What did I do anything bad? Did I do? And the
It's only
anxiety
true
and the
though
stress,
if you are
and then,
so hammered that you can't remember, and that's the
Yeah,
curious thing.
but
And
some
that's the
people do,
one
and then-
part. And it sounds like you don't do it, but certainly one when we were talking to Rosie, and I
Yeah.
think you're coming from a slightly different angle here, and that for some sort of younger guys and girls, and I see it, if you're going out for a night out, particularly at the weekend, not necessarily just going for a drink on a Wednesday or Thursday or something, but Fridays, Saturdays, maybe Sundays, the night isn't a success unless you're so hammered you can't remember what you did.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes where some people draw a line. So when I do go for a night out, I like to remember it. Some people might not, but I quite
You
like.
spent a lot of money on it. You need to.
Well, it
know
seems a
what-
bit pointless, doesn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I quite like to remember it, and also I find that. Especially with my friendship group, we were never really big drinkers. It wasn't really just it just wasn't a thing. We socialised in different ways, and I find that often, especially now with my generation, that people who do go out and get paralytic or need to call ambulance or whatever, it's not frowned upon, but it's definitely a problem, because other people in friendship groups especially just think oh, they're so annoying, and then it becomes a really unpopular thing, and you never want to go on a night out with them because you know that you're always going to have to be a babysitter or caretaking for them, and then it becomes a problem.